Okay, welcome to our Find Your Next Six-Figure Infill deal on December 12th. This week we have a couple of deals that we're going to review and then some of the details of the deals. This probably doesn't fit the mold of our some of our regular investors, so we don't have a lot of people on this call, but we're recording it just so it can be viewed on YouTube and shared with people that are interested in this deal. So I'm just going to jump into, first of all, the deal details of how to get access to the list full time. So we keep a list of the best infill deals or just any infill deals in Boise, and then the best ones we send out for the deal, or the best one of the week we send out for the deal of the week. In order to get access full time to our spreadsheet, or the deals that we track, and you can see them in real time as we add them to the list. You can get access to it by, so number one, if you're a realtor, so we offer realtors and investors access to the list. If you're a realtor, we just have you either attend or rewatch both sessions of our part 1 and 2 of infill development. The first session covers infill development, and then the second session covers how our new construction process works. You can also watch the replays on that. And then we also have a part 3 that we have you watch, and that is just a Zoom call recording about how to review the list, how to kind of look at or how to analyze what you're looking at there. And then we just have you sign an agreement stating that if you are going to use the strategies that we're suggesting with your buyers, that you'll introduce us to your buyers early on in the process. And then we also have you sign an NDA. One of the benefits also for realtors is we actually offer you free marketing campaigns that are co-branded with us. So we offer you emails, templates, as well as print templates if you want those as well. And we discussed that in part 2 of our training as well. Now, if you're an investor, you also can get access to the list full time. A couple things with that. So number one is we have you make sure you have a signed buyer's representative agreement with your sponsoring realtor. And so you can work with any realtor so let me rephrase this. So if you have a realtor that you already work with, that you're already in contract with, or already have a buyer's rep or some kind of relationship with, you can still work with them. We just have them go through the training as well. So there is multiple steps to this process, and these deals are more complicated than a traditional home purchase. So we just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So you can have your realtors, join the list. If you don't already have a realtor that you're working with, we can have you connect with one of our realtors that have already been through the training. And then we also have you watch the webinar sessions 1 and 2 on infill development and construction. These are actually tailored towards investors. And then we'll also have you watch the replay of the Zoom call where we cover how to review the list and see what you're seeing. I have made some changes with that. We will start having some more live record or live training sessions as well in the new year. And then we also have you sign an agreement just saying that you'll use our services if you implement our strategy on the identified properties. So it basically kind of works as like a non-compete and an NDA at the same time. And then a few things to note here. How we make our money. So we're a contractor, so we develop and build. We're actually fully integrated. So we do entitlements, horizontal development, and vertical. So we make money basically on our construction activities, but then we also charge a consulting fee at purchase. And that's basically how we're able to kind of keep this going and go through all the due diligence. So we'll get into this here a little bit later, but we have I think it's up to 19 pages now, due diligence checklist that we do 90% of it for you. And that just takes, time, and it took a lot of time to put everything together on this. So that consulting fee basically just covers all the due diligence and then basically the work that went into setting up the system and identifying properties for you that are going to work. Okay, I'm going to jump into our deal offer. So we have what we call our 36 figures in 36 months or less deal offer. So this offers you downside protection, transparency, and a proven process. When we started this or put this together, we realized that most investors, they're worried about losing money on a bad deal or not knowing the process or making a mistake, especially on something that's kind of new like this. They're worried about projects dragging on too long or contractors cutting corners, or just not having control or visibility. A lot of investors invest passively in other people's deals, and you just don't have any visibility or control of the deal in that situation. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This just gives like an alternative way to invest that you have more control over it. So we built this deal and offer specifically to eliminate those concerns. So you actually stay in control of your capital and the decisions, and then we do the heavy lifting. So the core components of our offer, so we offer expert deal underwriting, so there's no guesswork. We vet, analyze, and underwrite every single deal on our list. We don't just estimate numbers, we've done every step ourselves on our own projects. And then we offer and negotiation support. So we guide you and your realtor on how to structure and present offers. So since we've been the buyer ourselves many times, we know how to get these deals accepted and more or as importantly, accepted under terms that are acceptable to you and able to make the deal work. Number 3 is we offer step-by-step due diligence. So you'll never be left in the dark. We walk you through due diligence every step of the way. As I mentioned previously, we have, I think it's up to 19 pages now, due diligence checklist, and we actually complete most of that. Probably 95% of it we do for you. But you get to follow along, so you can ask questions along the way. You see, as we update the checklist, have any major questions that come up that get answered or that we're still waiting on answers from. And then at the end of due diligence, you decide whether to proceed. So with all the risks and the numbers laid out clearly. Number 4 is we have the renovation of the existing house if that's necessary. Like on the deal this week, we have a house that looks like it'll need renovation. So if the deal does involve an existing older home that needs renovation, we can do that with using our systems and trades and experience. And then number 5, we offer entitlement management. So we manage the entitlement process with the city. We've been through the pitfalls and know how to minimize the delays and keep the projects moving. Number 6, we do the horizontal development. So that's basically putting in all the infrastructure. So roads, sidewalks, curb, gutter, sewer, water, streetlights, all that fun stuff. And then obviously then we have the vertical construction. So the final finished product is going from ground up. And so we oversee every step of construction. So we use our systems and tools and contractors, subcontractors. We're just a well-oiled machine that's already made the mistakes so you don't have to. Some of the bonus offers we also offer you on this is we give you our ultimate guide introduction to infill development. So that just helps you understand what infill development is and how this works, why this works. We're also going to offer you or provide you with our due diligence checklist. That's that 19-page due diligence checklist that you can follow along. Number 3 is we're going to give you the 1-page underwriting worksheet that we base our guarantee on. We actually have that finalized. And so basically at the end of due diligence, we're going to have that underwriting worksheet filled out. And this acts as the final go or no-go underwriting for you to base your final investment decision on. It has things like timelines. It has the final profit projection, but also the profit projection at different stages. And then it has the details of the guarantee or how much we guarantee fully lined up. And then at the end of the project, we're going to compare the results with this guaranteed underwriting worksheet. Number 4 is we're going to provide you with our entitlement process checklist and projected timelines. Number 5 is we'll provide you with our complete construction process and inspection checklist. So this basically, we have a construction inspection checklist for every phase of the construction from digging for foundations all the way through the final inspection checklist. And then to go along with that, we also provide you with a third-party new home inspection report, and that's inspected at 4 key phases, sometimes 5. So we actually do inspections at framing and rough-in, so that's behind the walls, and then at drywall, interior and exterior finishes, and then the final inspection. Sometimes that final inspection ends up being 2 inspections, because if we catch anything in the final inspection, we'll have trades come in and kind of make their fixes and then come back and do the final inspection. So you'll be able to see if any issues came up or what issues came up throughout the whole process, and then see where they were addressed and how they were addressed. That's just ensuring that you have a good product when it's all said and done. And then number 7, so we're going to host a monthly progress call. We anticipate that starting here next month at the end of the month. This is going to be open to everybody, whether you own a deal or are invested in one of our deals or not. This is just going to be where we review all of our current projects and any progress that we made, as well as any challenges that came up over the previous month. And then what we'll do after that, if you own a deal personally, if there's specific challenges or specific issues or specific questions that you have with that project, we can schedule a further call after that. Number 8, so we're going to provide you with an entitlements guarantee. So this is part of the guarantee. So we're going to guarantee that if we don't achieve the unit count that we underwrite, we are going to waive our next fee or apply it towards our development costs. So what that looks like is if we say, like on this deal, if we at the final underwriting say we're going to be able to get 11 additional lots in there, if we end up with only 10 at the once it's approved, then we're basically waiving our fee on the next project or applying that fee towards the horizontal costs. And then number 9, so we're going to provide you with our underwriting guarantee. So that's where we guarantee that if the project doesn't meet at least 100% of the cash flow or profit projected on that final underwriting sheet, we're going to refund you until it does. So that's up to $50,000 per deal on deals that are up to 4 units, and then on deals that are up to 2 additional units, and then deals that are 3 or more units. So some of these mid to larger splits. We actually do up to $20,000 per house, up to a total of $200,000 per deal. So basically what that's doing is, if we say, okay, so if we're doing a single lot split and house build, and we say you're going to make $100,000 on that house, if at the very end you only make $75,000, we're going to refund you $25,000. We're withholding $50,000 on that deal until the very end. And so if it doesn't meet that profit projection, we're going to release the $25,000 to you before we pay ourselves. And then likewise on the bigger deals up to $200,000. So essentially you're being guaranteed that you're going to meet the 100% of the profit that we have projected. Now the caveat to that, and we'll discuss that in when we're actually going further in depth on these deals, but it doesn't provide you from or protect you from downside risk at all. It just basically gives you additional protection for loss for catastrophic loss. And what's kind of unique about that, really unique, I've never heard of any kind of investment being guaranteed whatsoever. So it's something that we are uniquely positioned to offer, and we cover that when we discuss these deals in detail when we're going through underwriting. So the investor experience, so your role in this, so you make the big decisions, you buy the property, make all the big decisions, we just do the heavy lifting. The timeline, so the target is 6 figures in 36 months or less. Depending on the deal, the deals can actually be as little as 12 months. Those are pretty rare, or up to 3, 4, 5 years if we do them, if they're medium-sized deals or larger, and they some of them, if we do in multiple phases, could take 4 or 5 years. So your protection, so you always have visibility into the cost, timelines, and the progress. And then the return. So you hold full ownership. We only get paid when the deal performs. So our incentives are aligned with yours. And then why us? So we specialize in infill development, small multifamily, ADUs, subdivisions, basically the exact strategies that cities like Boise are encouraging. And we've already figured out the business the hard way. We built the system specifically to make this work for investors like you guys. So that you don't have to figure this out from scratch. Our team has completed multiple projects from single home flips all the way up to multi-unit developments, as well as we've held rentals. So we have experience in every aspect of each of these deals, which makes us confident in the underwriting and the process. So really what this means is with working with us on these deals, you're not gambling on a low margin flip or a rental that you put 40% down just to get a little bit of cash flow. You're partnering with a team that's already mastered the process. We protect your downside and guarantee the key results that matter. So you provide the capital and buy the deal. We provide the expertise and the team, and together we build wealth. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so today's deal of the week, or this week's deal of the week, is a property that sits on a little over 1 acre. It's a little bit bigger parcel than we normally have on here, but it still qualifies as infill. But it's in Northwest Boise. It's near the foothills. It's actually a pretty great location. So it's an older home. There's no pictures of the inside of the home, unfortunately, but it does sound like it's a pretty major fixer-upper, so we have that planned in here. We also underwrote this 3 different ways. So we underwrote it with minimal cash, and then and keeping the existing house, and then we also underwrote it with tearing down the house with minimal cash and tearing down the house, but also just buying the whole deal cash altogether. So you're not doing any financing until you go to the construction activities. So there's 3 different ways that we underwrote this. Very similar results with all of them. You actually get better returns by tearing down the house. We try to avoid that if possible. And typically you can get a little bit better financing as well. Although this deal, I'm not sure that you'll be able to get better financing, but we underwrote it kind of with what we are fairly certain that you can get just with our lender contacts. Okay, so the purchase price is 1.125 million. At first, this seems a little bit high for essentially a land deal, but it's really not bad. And especially as we go through the underwriting here, it looks pretty good. There is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on the property existing that's about 1,500 square feet, and it's zoned R1C, which is, according with the city of Boise zoning, it's 12.4 units an acre. There are some stipulations to that. So there's minimum lot size requirements and setbacks and everything. So typically on subdivisions, you can't typically fit 12.4 units per acre on there because you have roads and everything that take up some of that square footage. Okay, so the final projected profits, these are what they look like. So this is the 3 different ways we underwrote it. So this is if you just buy the deal and keep the existing house. So your final projected profit is about 740,000. This 1,050,000 is if you tear down the house and just build all 14 homes. And then this is if you, and both of these are financing with 40% down on the purchase, by the way. And then this last deal is just buying the deal cash altogether. So all of these also factor in doing cash with entitlements. There's really not anything I found anyway that has financing for entitlements. So that's usually out of pocket. And then typically on the horizontal and vertical construction, you can finance 100% of those costs, and most of the time with interest built in as well. And then if anybody gets this deal under contract, we'll dive into this more in depth with the specific financing as well once we start talking to specific lenders in your specific scenario. So the way we also underwrote this is if you sell, well, we'll get into that here in a second. But basically, if you sell all the units and keep one at the end, I'll just cover it since I'm here. Okay, so what we have on this deal. So we started doing this because we realized a lot of people may want to keep one or even more units. But the way we did this, so you can see it clearly, is if you keep one unit at the end, so you basically sell the original house when it's split, and then you sell all of the new construction houses with the exception of one, and then you keep one of the houses. So on some deals, that means you're still going to carry debt, but it'll be a lot less debt than if you were to go and buy it new. And so that's like a strategy that we actually have a couple people using right now that are using that to essentially end up in their dream home at 6 figures, multiple 6 figures under the final value of the house. So it's basically a new house hack that you can do for the house that you're going to live in, where you can walk in with multiple six figure or at least six figures of equity on that final deal. But in this case, it's either or on these medium-sized deals, you can keep a house essentially for free on this, where you get the house for free. Plus, so these negative numbers are actually the cash back. So on this one, after you sell all the houses except for one, you actually still get $57,000 in your pocket after. So you get all this capital returned, plus you get $57,000 back. So almost a 10% return on your original capital. And then you own that house for free to really get infinite results on your cash, because ultimately you own that now free and clear, and you can rent it or live in it or whatever. And basically enjoy the benefits of owning that house with whatever your strategy is, whether it's to rent a long-term, short-term, mid-term, live in it, or sell it for a profit. That's what these projected profits are these projected profits are after selling everything, after all the sales costs and everything. So this is the cash back if you do 3 more houses, and then this one, because you have more capital in the deal, you actually get all this capital back, well, almost all this capital back, minus $80,000, then you own the final house with $80,000 of your own money still into it. Okay. So then we have the strategy here, the amount of houses. This is what we feel like the existing house is worth as is. Now we rarely look at these deals beforehand and do a in-depth analysis. We just estimate what the as is value based on what we feel like the scope is going to be. So usually this is fairly accurate. We can check numbers. We haven't actually been inside these houses most of the time. But that's something we do during due diligence, so that'll get honed in. Sometimes this value goes up, sometimes it goes down. And then this is the additional cost for the land per lot. So that's what you're paying per lot. In some neighborhoods, you want this as close to zero as possible, because it's the only way that it works. But on this, you get some economies of scale. So, you can kind of afford to pay a little bit extra for the land here, because you are building multiple houses. And then the entitlement cost per lot. So entitlement, again, it's a lot of times it's, it doesn't cost much for extra land, for extra lots. So typically this cost just goes down per lot as you fit more lots. And then the development cost, kind of the same thing. The infrastructure is basically going to be what the infrastructure is. It's kind of more based on the square footage of the whole property and what has to be done with it. So the more lots you can get in there, the lower cost per lot it is. And then these are what the comps are showing for if you were to sell the lots, the developed lots. And so this deal, like once you have the finished lots, you can sell these to a builder or for people that want to build their custom homes. And these would be profitable as well there. And typically most of these deals, we want to have multiple exit strategies. So ultimately we want you to go all the way through vertical, because that's going to be the most profitable. But if something happens along the way, where we have to switch gears and change the strategy, there's multiple exit points. So this is one of the exit points, is just selling the finished lots. Even if you wanted to sell some of them and, maybe reduce your debt or get some cash back or whatever, that's a strategy, and you can make a profit on those. Then we have the construction costs of this. By the way, all these costs include all of what our fees are and what the current construction prices look like. Now, over time, those construction costs can go up. We dig that more in depth than that during the underwriting process. This is your all-in cost for this covers the land portion, plus the entitlements, plus the horizontal and vertical construction. These are the carry costs on just the vertical portion. So you can typically finance that into the vertical construction. You can typically finance your your interest costs in the vertical construction. as long as the numbers work for the lender, but that is typically the case. You can finance this and the interest into the loan, so you're not paying additional loan costs out of pocket. And then we have the probable sales value. So there is a pretty good comp nearby for this size house that sold for 735. So then we have our sales costs at the tail end, and then your overall profit on those houses. So if you notice here, this profit is less. That's because you have, again, going back to these mainly just entitlement and development costs. You just have some economies of scale there. The more lots you can get, the lower that cost goes down. But what you don't have on these, so you're more profitable on the houses, but you don't have an existing structure. So you're actually like basically just buying the land there for hire. Okay, so we have the renovation of the existing house at 150,000 for the square footage. We feel like that is a pretty good renovation number. Again, that could go up or down depending on the due diligence period once we estimate that better. And then we have the ARV of the existing house, so the resale price of that size house in the neighborhood, the sales costs. And then these costs here are factoring in all your, so on these two, these are factoring in your carry costs on that land or investment loan. So you're going to put 40% down on that loan, and then the 60% you're going to make interest payments on. So that's factoring in all those interest payments and any points on it, and then also property taxes for the 2 years that it takes to split it off. And then if you keep the existing house, if you fix that up, then this is the additional rental income you can expect over after it's fixed up until you have it split off. So this just shows the existing house profit. So this is basically the sale price minus the acquisition, minus the renovation, and then the difference in carrying costs versus income. And so ultimately, this is just factored into your overall profitability of the project. And then this is your final debt refinanced if you were to refinance, or sorry, basically all the debt that's financed if you were to build all this all at the same time. Now, because this is multiple units, more than likely this would be done in multiple phases or as kind of a progressive build. So maybe we basically start framing one house. Once that's framed, then you move to the next one. So you're not building all 14 all at the same time. So basically you kind of have a waterfall of when they'll be finished. And that way you're not flooding the market with inventory right away, but also it keeps your carry costs down. Or you might even just do it in like 2 or 3 phases where you build, 6 and then sell them and then build the other 5 or whatever. But this is your total debt refinanced if you did it all at one time. So this could be lower if we do it either a few different ways. We won't get into that, but there's different strategies that we can employ that we decide on before we go vertical. So we look at the market and decide what that strategy, the best strategy is to be dependent on what the market is doing at that moment. All right, and then this is what it looks like. The cash that you get back after you sell all of the units except for one. So if you, on this one, for example, so you've already sold, once the horizontal is complete and you have a separate plot, before you go vertical on these, you've already sold this house. So now you don't own this house anymore, but you own 11 lots. And now you're going to build 11 houses, but you're going to sell 10 of them. And after you sell 10, this is the cash you get back. So this $705,000 pays you back your 650,000 that you have into it, plus a profit on that. Plus now you have a house free and clear that you can do whatever you want with. So you can sell that or whatever. If you wanted to keep multiple units, you could actually, keep 2 or 3 and still cash flow on all of those houses. So, so pretty powerful stuff here. That's how you build some great wealth and kind of stack it over time. And then once you get this capital back, you're going to go want to go and do it again. So you do that a few times over 10 years and you multiply your wealth significantly. Okay, I'm going to get into the vacant land We also had a couple other subdivisions actually that came on the market here. This one here, I haven't fully analyzed these yet. I will probably do that here coming up. But this one is zoned pretty low density, so this would have to get rezoned. So typically, we don't look into those super heavily. And then we have Hartman Drive. So this is a mixed use development. So this is actually an interesting one too. Again, we might underwrite this later, but if anybody's looking for kind of a combination of either commercial and residential, or just doing a, condo complex, something like that. I think I've actually talked about this previously. Yeah, last week, I think we discussed that. So that should be in that recording. And then this was our deal of the week last week. We did have a couple people interested in this. Nobody's pulled the trigger quite yet, so this is still available, but this is actually a really good one as well. This house, so this is a higher purchase price again, kind of like this, but the house is actually close to this value, so you're not paying a lot for the extra land. And then we can actually build 5 additional houses on there pretty confidently, and the return on that looks really good as well. Plus you can finance this, like if you wanted a house to live in, this would actually be even a good house there too. Okay. And then we do have a couple of deals in Garden City still also that that have some good profitability. We've covered these in previous calls, so you can go and rewatch those. I'm not going to get into them in depth here. And then vacant land. So I did want to get into this. So I was actually going to do this one as our deal of the week, but then it's going to take me a little bit more time. I thought I could maybe fit up to 12, but it's really the lot shape makes it hard. So I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time trying to put it together. With 12 units, it actually looks excellent. So originally I got excited about this because that was the profitability based on this one. But the current layout I'm working on is only 9. Still a good investment, overall, but you'll see it has 265,000 profitability with 9 units. I'm confident in 9, but I think I can squeeze some more. I just have to play around with the layouts a little bit. And then we have, so this one, I will say, so this one on 47th Street, this is kind of unique because it actually sits, let me see if I can pull up the map. Yeah, so there's some commercial buildings around it, but what makes this unique, and then obviously Garden City, if anybody's familiar with Garden City, there's just a lot of mobile homes there still. So that's going away, more and more frequently. But it's literally half a block away from the Greenbelt. So you have access to the Greenbelt right here. So super close. This is Adams Street. And then they're also building the Park at Expo, Idaho, just down the street. So this is also close to that, probably half a mile. That's right over here, somewhere right here. So close to that, close to Willow Lane Athletic Complex, and then also Whitewater Park is down over here. So close to a lot of that stuff. We have a few deals in Garden City. This one is, kind of lower entry point. There's a couple even that are lower than that. Ray Street, for example, here, wherever I saw that again. Xenia is also another one that we could do. I actually have a layout already. This was a deal of the week. 275 purchase price. I think we actually have somebody looking at that currently. And then there's also this Ray Street that was, where did that go? I lost it, but that's also lower entry level price. So, oh, that was in the subdivisions. So yeah, multiple of these deals that have multiple units. We haven't seen like a one-off split for a little while. Well, actually, let me go back. We do have one. We have some people looking at it, so I'm not going to discuss a lot about it right now. But what I will say So we originally looked at this as potentially more units, or I originally thought could be a pretty great split, but what we found out, there was an easement that takes up a chunk of it. So in order for it to be able to be split really well, we actually have to move the house. But we actually still have some people looking at that. That's what this looks like. So it still could be a six-figure deal. Even though there's a little bit more involved with it, but it's still a pretty great little location there and everything. Oh, and then this is another one that came up this week, 1777 East Holden. So this is another one. It's on a large lot, but it's actually zoned really low density. So it is feasible to split, and it would actually still be pretty cool property. Both properties would actually be pretty cool. Both would meet the minimum requirements, and then you still have six-figure profitability. I think this price is probably a little bit high for what they're asking. So ideally, if somebody's interested in this purchase price would be lower. I actually have it. It was really hard to check comparables in this neighborhood actually, because they're kind of all over the place. So, when we go through this at a high level, we don't spend a ton of time looking at comps. We just try to pick it out. But that profitability is based on the home value being $200,000 less than what they have it listed at. So ideally, somebody could go in there and get it lower priced. Because this profitability is based on that purchase price still. So, and it could be worth that much. Again, the comps are kind of all over the place. So it's really hard to get a handle on it without doing a lot more in-depth research. But that could be a potential good one, especially if you can get it for lower price. It's just going to be, obviously a little bit higher holding costs with the higher purchase price, but you have a turnkey home that's ready. And I think that was it for the deals that we added this week. If you guys are want to look at any other deals that are on this list, obviously there's multiple. Anything that's yellow on here, or this kind of cream color, that was on the market at one point and then got canceled. And then if it's in red, it's pending typically, or sometimes sold if I haven't updated it, but red is typically pending or sold. And then the white is available. So if you notice, we have multiple deals on the list all the time. So if you have specifics that you're looking for, if you're watching this video and you have specifics, a specific neighborhood you're looking at, or a specific strategy, or a specific capital amount that you're looking to deploy, we can basically find a deal for you that works for your strategy. So we work with people that are looking to do build additional units for long-term rentals. We're currently doing a couple of those deals right now. We're working with people that are trying to build their dream house, but walk into it with six figures or multiple six figures of equity. We are working with people that are just looking for a good return on their investment, and that's all they want is just a really good return. So pretty much whatever your strategy is, we can kind of tailor the deal to work for your strategy, and find the right deal that fits your strategy well and your capital stack. So pretty much this deal, these deals are work for most people. I would say the minimum investment is typically, I think the least we've seen investment required is probably 100,000. They're typically around 250 to 300,000. But whatever you're working with, the other thing too is if you have friends or family that want to invest along with you, there's always that option. You could form a JV agreement with those people, and then still do everything else the same. So reach out to me individually if you have any questions, or have interest in any of these deals, or just questions about your specific situation and how it can work in our strategy here. With that, we're going to end a little bit early. I'm going to stop the share and stop the recording.